it's Nick from Scoreboard Addicts Podcast, and it's day 11 of Beer and a Take. And today I'll be drinking the Abita Christmas Ale. Each year at the Abita Brewery, we craft a special dark ale for the holiday season. Then Papa Noel, also known as Santa Claus, harnesses up his team of gators and makes a special delivery. The recipe changes year to year, so that Abita Christmas Ale is always the perfect gift. That is awesome. I got to tell you right now, uh, the fact that they change the recipe every year is phenomenal because like you'll go and you'll get similar beers from other distributors, different brewing companies and breweries. For instance, Sam Adams, Old Fezziwig is their Christmas beer, and it's the same every single year. I guess the drawback to that would be the fact that if you loved what happened this year, you're not going to get it again next year, and that's a bummer. But that is kind of cool that they did it that way. Let me give it a little taste. And it got some good amber color. It's a little cloudy, which means there's a lot of seasoning in there. Light. It's very light. The cloudiness would definitely not lend itself toward that. A little bitter on the front, all the way. Actually, bitter all the way through, but it's so light it evaporates very quickly, which is very interesting. Um, my take for today would be the Yankee signing of Max Fried, and he got 8 years. And I think the length, if you're a baseball fan of any caliber, then 38. He's actually going to be 39 in January. So 39-year-old pitchers generally don't pitch all that well. And I think overall, my take is, what is the market value for any player? We're looking at record contracts for guys like Juan Soto, previously Shohei Ohtani, and previously uh, Aaron Judge. Ohtani and Judge being a little older in the signing of their contracts, and therefore their contracts are a little shorter. Juan Soto being 26, his contract has him playing till 41, but he's not that good defensively, so he'll probably be a DH by the time he's 30. So in another 4 years, maybe 3 years, but he has opt outs at 5 years. So I guess the question for somebody like Max Fried is his average salary? I believe his average salary at this point is going to be 28 million a year. We're used to seeing that number for your top flight front end of the rotation pitcher. But it is in 3 years, is that the average salary for a major league player? I think it might be because I remember 10 million. I remember Derek Jeter signed for 14 million not too long ago. I don't think he was the heart of his career at the time, but he was an above average player. I mean, so to speak. I personally, I didn't think he was an above average player at that point. I believe he was about 3 years away from retirement and threatening to go to another team. Like that would have ever happened. The Yankees gave him 14 million out of the kindness of their hearts, so as not to embarrass the guy. But like A-Rod, 25 million a season, right? $250 million contract. That was what, 20 years ago ish? A little bit less, actually. A little bit less than 20 years ago, and that's half of what these guys are getting now. So in 20 years, are these guys going to be making 100 million a season? Is inflation that crazy right now? I don't know. I mean, sometimes you have to play the long game, I guess, and argue that, hey, the guy will be making X amount of dollars in 2 years anyway when we want to sign him. Might as well sign him now. As the Nationals tried to sign Soto, what, 4 years ago, to an extended contract for about 40 million. Was it 40? Might have been a little bit less than that at the time. So, I mean, I think he's scheduled to make 55 a season. At the time, he was scheduled to make 44 with the Nationals. If you look at the overall dollar amount, obviously it's more because I believe the Nationals were offering 10 years, 440 million. He's getting what, 16 years and like 55 mil a year from the Mets plus incentives, something around 800 million or something like that. I don't think anybody's worth that. And it gets to be, to me, at some point, it becomes semantics about whether or not you want to get paid that much money. But I guess it lends itself when you're looking at somebody like Max Fried on whether or not a $30 million a year salary is going to become very normal or average at some point in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't see it not happening because it's getting to the point where 55 million is what your best guys getting paid. And a mediocre guy's going to make about half that. No, I don't think that's crazy, right? Mike Trout was making 30 million a year. An above average player was making about 15 million a year. So that very well may be the average salary for a baseball player in the near future. So what does that all mean? It means parents, if you're out there and you're not interested in baseball, your kid's not interested in baseball, by all means, get interested in baseball. It is the longest contract that you can get in sports. People will sit there and say, oh, but basketball players make more. There are very few basketball players on basketball rosters. There are 26, probably going to expand sometime in the near future beyond 26 players on a Major League Baseball roster. Not to say that making that Juan Soto money is going to be easy. It never is. But the odds of you being a left-handed reliever and making a few hundred million over the course of a 10-year career is not absolutely crazy. It's possible, absolutely possible, and a lot easier than being the sixth guy on a basketball team where you got to be 6'6". Genetically, the odds aren't there. Playing football, also, you run a lot of risk of severe injury. In baseball, you'll tear a shoulder. I've got a torn labrum. You'll tear an elbow. You'll tear a knee. In football, you'll get CTE and you won't remember your family's names. Baseball seems to be the answer if you live in America, ladies and gentlemen. Shohei Ohtani is showing us all that, and so is Juan Soto. Not to mention the endorsements they're both going to get. Also, bear in mind, baseball contracts are 100% guaranteed. There are no other sports like that where your contract is guaranteed. No matter what you do, you're getting paid. So, you know, the Mets will be paying Juan Soto. They'll probably be paying his grandkids like they're paying Bobby Bonilla still. But we'll see where everything ends up and shakes up at the end of it all. And maybe the Yankees cut a deal with Max Fried. I don't know today. It doesn't look like it. But in 2 years, it very well may be. That was my beer, and that was my take. We'll catch you again next time.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.